Collymore here. Today I'd like to talk to couples about communication and do we allow for our partners to fully communicate with us? Do we open the door that makes our partners comfortable to tell us stuff? And in many cases, the answer would be no. Many times, it is there's no way for a person to tell you something because there's either never the moment created for it or your tendency to listen is listen fractured. So let's discuss first making space for it. We get into relationships, we have busy lives, we work, we have the kids, we have chores, we have duties, we have whatever. But you start to move into that direction again, into that pattern, and you forget to leave time to actually communicate. Now, there are numerous times in a day you can. You can either spend the day on the phone between each other, or WhatsApp communication, or just before going to bed, or literally cut out some time that is considered time to talk. But if you cut out the time for time to talk, it gotta be time to listen as well. And a lot of times we are skipping this in our relationships. We're doing these relationships, we're making no time to talk, and we're making no time to talk about the really important stuff that bothers us. So you go through a day, and I tell couples this all the time. Do not come home and ask, how was your day? Too much. What was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? And what was the part of the day you feel you would like to share? Those are 3 questions. Let me say it again. What is the best part of your day? That adds a positive slant. It makes you remember the good things. What was the worst part of your day? It helps you address some anger, some emotions, some challenges, and be heard, and feel like you're being heard. So you get to process them. And then, what was the part of the day I'd like to share? Maybe it's something funny. Maybe it's something introspective. The point is we're communicating. I always tell this story about there was a couple who this therapist recommended, and since then I believe in it. When they come home from work, there should be at least 5 minutes of no talk but touch time. Now this touch is not sexual. This touch is connection. You can either hold each other's hands and look into each other's eyes, or you can just sit together and touch. Some sort of touch, either hand on the leg, either you're sitting in his lap or he's sitting in yours, either there's a hug involved, but no talking. Because after you are coming from 2 different worlds, what you need is that time to come together and be on the same page. Half of the time, if one of us is mentally still at work and the other has gotten home and you're talking from 2 different places, you forget the compassion, you forget the love. You're in the mode of whatever was last bothering you. So, my suggestion for those who commute home, use the time home to calm down. Regularly when I get home, I'll stay in the car for another 10, 15 minutes. It drives my family crazy. But because I know that once I enter my home, my kids are going to want to talk to me. My mother's going to want to talk to me. I want to finish off all business with the outside world before I get in there. So any friends I want to talk to, anybody I was to get back to, has to happen then. Because for the next 3-4 hours, I got to be theirs. My kids are going to come to the door. They're going to tell me something. They're going to want to tell me what they're there. They're going to want to tell me what the teacher requests something of them or whatever. And I can't process it if I'm still dealing with things I was dealing with all day. So I take a few moments in the car. I finish off any calls, conversations, so that when I enter the home, I put my phone down and I can communicate with them. And I say this to say, find your time, find your way, where communication is essential. And so often we're putting it on a back burner and acting like, I'll get to it later. Let's not do that. Let's make it a priority. But let's also make a priority, because, women are accustomed to talking, men are not accustomed to talking. This way, both of you get to talk. And even if you forego it, the habit is still good because at least it keeps you connected with the person. that I also was mentioning was listening. Many times we talk, but we don't listen. Sometimes while the person is telling you something, you already have in your mind exactly what your response is going to be. And that is problematic because it means automatically you can't listen at the depth and the level your attention needs to be at. On top of listening, I know I've discussed this before, on top of listening, there needs to be a backward and forth of questions to see that you're on the page. Because sometimes the reality is you're not on the page. You there, but you ain't present. You ain't really listening. You ain't connecting with them the way you should be. And so what you want to do is to start practicing listening. Now, how do I get this done? All right? First of all, I have to get there. So when I get to the conversation, because even sometimes my kids come to tell me something and says, I'm not in a place I can listen to you. Give me a second and let me breathe and get myself together. So for me, I might do 5 deep breaths with my hand on my chest so that I could connect with myself first, so that I could connect with you. So I might just, and it don't got to be dramatic, everybody notices, it just got to be exhale. I've quieted my own mind, I can listen to you now. Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what, you know. But let's agree that for this to work, you have to actually communicate when the door opens. You can't then decide, oh, I don't want to talk about it anymore. You aren't the only person in the conversation, so you don't get to shut down the conversation to suit you. What you can say is, to be honest, the way I feel about it, my emotions, I wouldn't be in a good place to discuss this. Let's discuss this later. But then you have to honor that. Later cannot be some superlative, just whenever whimsical time. It has to be an exact time. It has to be, give me till after dinner. Give me a few minutes. Give me a shower. Let me shower and come back. Let me have a nap and then get back up and say we feel better that we can have this conversation. And I not be dogmatic, or I not be picking at you, or I not be, petty. Because right now, this is how I feel. I feel petty. And I have to let that pettiness pass through. I have to acknowledge it. Because what we also do, and this is also a problem, I see. I want you to have good communication. But I want you to be you. I want you to be honest. I don't want you to be politically correct. I don't want you to be mature. I want you to be honest about how you feel. So let's say something upset you tremendously. I want you to acknowledge that on your own first. I want to acknowledge how freaking vexed this thing got me. And I'm going to allow that to first be acknowledged and then to pass through me as a net. Okay, I am angry. I'm just going to sit here and let it work its way through my system and leave me. But if it isn't worked its way through your system yet, you also have to acknowledge it's still processing. But as soon as it gets to a place where I can effectively communicate, I will. But right now, it's a no. And allow yourself permission to feel those feelings. Also, what you don't want to do is to call your partner name, or nothing that can get you in trouble later. So what you want to do is process it first and then come back from a place of, okay, what upset me about this? When you are actually communicating now, and you and the person, you're actually doing the talk, and you're actually communicating now, I want you to say, I want you to remember, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening. I've emptied myself, my preconceived ideas, my thinking I know what you're going to say. I've emptied those things. And then, once I know I'm empty here, and empty here, I'm ready. This is also to remind me that I love you. So I'm touching my heart. I love you, and we're going to have this conversation. I'm going to remind myself to listen. So while I'm listening, you're going to say things. So let's say you're saying something accusational, like, you always. I know I don't always do nothing. I've never been consistent that way yet. So I'm aware. I'm going to let some of those small innuendos pass. I'm going to drop dip always. It's an exaggeration, but I get you. Then after the accusation, you go, are you saying, because what you want is clarity. Are you actually saying that I do this, and this? Are you saying there's never a time that I do this, and this? You understand? So what you want from them is, you want to have that conversation where I've heard you. I want you to know that I've heard you. It's part of respect. I've heard you. I'm now asking the questions for clarity. Not because I'm mocking you, because I'm just trying to, is this what you're saying to me? I want to get it right. Once I've acknowledged what you're saying to me is correct, what I want to do now is breathe through and say, okay, I've got this. I understand you. This is, how would you like me? You listening? How would you like me to respond to this? Because how I presently responded to it, you didn't like. So how would you like me to respond to it? How do I respond that you don't get more mad or more vexed? Is it that I do have the option to be free and to be honest and to say what I want? Or you're really in that place? Because sometimes this is a whole rant party for the individual. It's not nothing to do with your talk. Because you see, I hear people say terms like, you hurt me. You did not hurt me. You did something that reminded me of a hurt I already had. And what I need to do is to process my hurt. So, what is it you want me to say that would make your hurt feel less? Because you're the one talking and I'm the one listening. And it doesn't mean I won't comply. It means I will comply. I'll give you what you want. But not to self. It is something you need to still fix at the end of the day. Some habit that I got that's driving you crazy, you need to figure out, why does it drive you crazy? And it might be a legitimate fear of, because really, you can come from fear. Either a fear you're going to left me, a fear you're going to waste all my money, a fear that we ain't going to put by and my children going to suffer. They're real fears. So then it's about addressing the fear. And sometimes if I understand the fear, I am better able to relate to why not to do this in this way in front of you. Because now I have better understanding. So you say, I told them, and did you really tell them? Did they hear you? And did they understand the why? Because if you're not going to express, if you're not going to be willing to be vulnerable about this, then you're never going to get to where it could really go. I'm trying to do better. You want to say, I'm trying to do better. I don't like using that word. My better might come in small increments, but it's still. I feel sometimes like you can't wait on it. You're impatient with my better. And it hurts. Because better for me already is hard enough. And knowing then that you have no faith in me adds another element. So what you want to do is to express your truth. What we do often is express this facade of who we are. And so the facade is, maybe I don't have no emotions. Or the facade is, I have it together. Anyway, anybody got it together? That's a ridiculous term. Having it together. Have it together when? How long for? A few seconds? Because it's constantly changing. Life is constantly changing. So why do we pretend? Why do we need to have it together? What does having it together give us that does having it together doesn't give us? Wouldn't it be better to say, I'm working on it? I ain't perfect, but I am working on it. I don't know squat. I'm just trying a thing here. Those are more honest realities of where we're. So take the pressure off. Stop wearing the facade. Stop in the relationship pretending I'm so tough, I don't need you. I ain't gonna let you hurt me. Well, yeah, you can get hurt a few times. The point is, are you fixing it or are you gonna keep getting hurt? And you're worried about them hurting you. How many times have you hurt yourself? No matter how much people do to you, you do yourself a lot worse. So check yourself before you expect somebody else to check you better. The point of this conversation was about, if you want that door open, I could come and tell you what's going on with me. You have to open the door for me to do it. And so don't get vexed. And the whole reason I came to this was over people saying that their partners cheated on them. He lied. What did you expect him to do? What do you expect her to do? Could she have actually come up to you and say, if I met someone and they're meeting a need I have and you're not? And you're not? Could I tell you that and you'd be okay with it? Could I tell you that I'm having issues with temptation and you hold my hand and say, okay, what do you need me to do to help this make this better? He said, well, right now I need lots of attention because it's a rough period for me. And, you know, if this person keeps giving me this attention, I could see me easily being distracted by them. And I'm begging you to, you know, for at least for the next few weeks till I catch myself, till I feel stronger, could you, you know, pamper me up a little bit, give me some attention, put up with me a little bit extra. I'm not saying you're not doing a great job as is. I'm just saying I could do with some more help. Understand the difference? Because we're complaining of what our partners end up doing. But when they're asking for stuff, we're just not giving them. And then we wonder why this pattern creates itself. Why is it? Why are people cheating? Why do people hide money and not tell you? You don't leave the door open for me to tell you. And there's then a lot of judgment. There's a lot of accusations of, I is this, I is that, and I do this all the time, and I do that. And you're talking at me, but you're not talking to me. You're not talking with me. And you're not seeing me as a sick individual needing help. You're seeing me as this venomous, purpose-doing individual. But you know, we're all stuck. We're all stuck in the drama we've lived up until now, that we've never cleaned out our closet. And what we haven't been doing is cleaning out our closet. We're just blaming everybody else. Wants everybody else to walk on eggshells to accommodate us. Excuse the noise, my apologies. But understand we can do better. Just like understand we can do better. Right? Understand we have to do better if we want our relationships to last. It doesn't change. You're going to do the same lesson over and over. You're going to pick somebody who's exactly like the last one. So what you've got to do is to make this one work each time. You've got to figure out, how can I make this work better? And this can't be a one-man work. It's got to be both of you. It also has to be about understanding you better. Because the more you learn how to love you, how to take care of you, what your needs are, the more honest your communication is in general. And the more you let go, looking at the next person for your joy. Partners do not bring you joy. You bring you joy. Partners complement you. But I have to admit, if I had a partner that every day was touching all of my nerves, I would have to get wrong. Because it takes a while between the nerve healing for me to go again. I don't want to be constantly stimulated like that. But again, then that will have to go to our picking of our partner. How did you pick them? Was the real you picking them, or was your facade picking them? Because it's very hard to get to the truth if we're always lying to ourselves. Okay, so just to recap, you want better communication in your relationship, you have to leave the door open. There has to be less judgment. There has to be time made for it. There has to be listening. Take down notes of what I said with regard to the listening. It is so worth it. It's worth it with your kids. It's worth it with your partner. It's worth it in general. Make the time to listen. Make the time to help people deal with their drama. Be kind and compassionate to them the way you want kindness and compassion given to you. And if you say, they don't give me this, it's not a competition. Okay. So those are some things to try. I am wishing you luck. The whole purpose I had to come and say these things was because I keep hearing this come up, and it was just bothering me that I felt like people had no tools. You want a better relationship, it's going to take some work, but it's there to make you into a better you. So always remember, your partner is your diamond shiner.